Hi, I'm Gary Rubenstein. I'm a high school teacher and I've been doing remote teaching uh, since March. So over the months, I figured out some different systems and uh, I want to share them out. Maybe there are some teachers and some math teachers out there who are looking for ways to be more efficient and get their students, learning more and keep track of if their students are learning. So I'm going to make a series of videos. Uh, I've already made two. One about what a good remote like setup is, like what technologies, uh, how many computers you need and screens and things like that. I did a second video of what it would look like if you're working from home instead of at a school. But this is the first one those were about, setting up your system. But what about the technologies and what does a lesson, look like? Well, let me get my own. I don't want to see myself. You can see me, but they're better if I'm not looking at myself. Um, so in my class, the technology I want to show you today is something called DeltaMath. And I find this one indispensable for what I'm trying to do. Um, DeltaMath there's a free version, but for what I'm doing, I need the paid version, which is $75 a year. Um, but it's totally worth it when you see what you can do with it. Um, if that $75 saves you 10 hours of work, well, as they say, time is money, and you can just be so much more efficient with it. Here's the way it works. So when I'm teaching my class, I might start the class. I have some kind of question up on my I use Smart Notebook on an iPad. I write on it with a Apple Pen. Here's what that looks like. Um, so what a lot of people do is they'll put a question up on their screen and they'll tell the students, okay, everyone work on this question. Okay, but then what? You could say, okay, type your answer into the Zoom chat. And then like some kids will type it. But once a few kids have typed it, everyone sees what the answer is. And you really don't get the opportunity to see like how many students really knew this. And it's like kids shouting out an answer. You may not want the answer right away. So what I do is um, I create an activity that goes along with my lesson on Delta Math. And what this allows my students to do is to uh, type in their answers as I go through the lesson. And I'll just show you kind of what this looks like from their end. So I'll tell my students, okay, everyone open up the assignment that's called class 20 binomial expansion. And here's what it looks like from their end. So the student logs into their DeltaMath account and they bring up the assignment and there it is, the exact question that I just had them work on. So they do it on their paper and then when they feel like they've got the right answer, they come over here and they type in the answer into the box and they click submit and it asks, are you sure you want to submit? And in this case, so look at what happens. It tells them right then and there that they got the answer right. And that's pretty great because just think of like the traditional classroom where you tell everyone to do this and they all answer it and they just sit around waiting to find out if they got it right or not. So they know right away that they got it right. So that's great for them. If they get it wrong, they also know they also know they got it wrong if they did, and that's good also because then they can kind of redo it. In the old days, if they sat around with a wrong answer for a couple of minutes while you waited for everyone to finish, that would be time that could have been used for them to revisit their answer. But another thing that happens is that from the teacher's point of view, I have something else going on, which I'll show you now. Hold on. Okay, let me see if I share the entire desktop, if this allows me to show you this the way I want to. So here as a teacher, I go to my student data, and within the student data, there's this assignment. And I can say, you know, which class I'm looking at. So I'll say period 10. Whoops, I don't want to show you names or anything. So I'm just going to go like this. And now I'm covering up the students' names for privacy. And I can actually see, okay, question 1 they're working on. And I can see what percent of people have done it. I can click on question 1 if they're just working on that question. And I can see every student, all my students in that class. I can see what they wrote over here on the right, whether they got it right or wrong. And then I can address it. So that's amazing to be able to have all that data. I usually have a second computer going so I could have the data on one computer that I'm looking at, and then I can be doing my Zoom stuff on the other computer. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I go about creating these assignments. But throughout the entire class, let me now go back to just the single view. Hold on. So throughout my lesson, I have like, here's the next DeltaMath question. You know, what's the coefficient of the x squared term of the expansion? And then my students will come over here and they're into the, you know, the next question. They type in their answer. Let's say they get it wrong. Well, this, I have a little complication because I'm signed in more than one place. Let's see if I can let me see if I sign out of that, if that works. Submit my answer. Okay, well, it's a little, because I'm trying to do a little too much at once, I'm having some problems, but I hope you get the idea that throughout my lesson's like a game show. As things go on, the students are typing in their answers and getting instantly knowing if they got it right or wrong. And I'm instantly knowing what percent of students have gotten it right or wrong. And I'll say things like, okay, so far about half of the people have answered the question. I'll give you an extra minute. I don't have to sit around waiting, even like I did in with regular school, like, they look like they're done, or everyone stopped writing. I have so much data that I never even had in live teaching. So maybe there's like 10 questions throughout the class, and it gives me a lot of data. And the students like it also because then when they type in their answers, they get instant feedback if they got it right or wrong. And it's great. So now you're probably wondering, you know, how do you create these activities? Well, it's pretty easy. I'm going to go back to teacher account. Incidentally, I am not an employee of DeltaMath. I am a customer who pays $75 a year. Let me reopen up DeltaMath. Pause for a second while I get that happening. Okay, so here's the DeltaMath homepage, and you can see that DeltaMath has all these like modules, you know, already created. So let's say I'm teaching something. I'm teaching solve equations by factoring. I click here. I can kind of take a look at what they have already, like quadratic equations, and I look at questions they've already created. I say, okay, those are, looks like a good question. So I come over here and I say create edit, create standard assignment, and I'll just say, you know, demo. I'm just demonstrating it. I have to select a period, so I'll say period 10. I think I have to, then you start adding the skills. Now, if you already know there's some skill, you can even type in, I'm doing something with quadratic. Okay. So I click here, quadratic equation. Let's say I like these questions. I have two options. I can click on the plus key. When I get the plus key, it ends up over here. And I could put in like how many questions do I want them to do. This is, I do this for homework assignments a lot. But for an actual class assignment, talk about homework after. For class, I want everyone to do the same question. So I'll click on here and I'll look at some problems. New problem, okay. And I say, oh yeah, that one I like. So I click on this button that says assign this problem. Then I go back and you can see that question's here. I usually rename it. Question 1. And now every student will see that question. And then I say, you know what, I also want to do one of these, look through a few. Maybe I like this one or this one. I say, okay, I like this one. I click on assign this problem. You only get this option, assign this problem, if you have DeltaMath Plus. Like I said, well worth it. Now, there might be a type of question that isn't already, even though there's like something like 500 modules, maybe more, maybe there's something that you want to ask that's not in here. No problem. You click on the button. This is what I do a lot. I go create my own problem. Create edit problem. And here I get to type stuff. What is the, come over here to make math font. What is the x squared coefficient of, come over here to type in math, x plus 1, x plus 2, question mark. This is what it's going to look like. And then I say, okay, well, the answer is going to, let me change this question. What is the x coefficient? So the answer is going to be 3. They might type 3x, so I say more settings, multiple possible answers. I say 3, stick this plus here. Or if they type 3x, I want them to get it right. Now I preview it. How does this look? Test it out, 3, submit answer. Okay, good. Let me just try it again with 3x, make sure it accepts both answers. Maybe go again, make sure it's like doesn't always work. Like what if I type 4, I get it wrong? Okay, so that's okay. I tell them during class, I'm not grading these in that way. Like I want them to guess and maybe get answers wrong and then think about why they got it wrong. So that's how I create my own question. See that? Question 3 is, most of my class questions are created this way. Now, when I'm doing a homework assignment, I might take one of these skills and click a plus here, and I might say, okay, do like 5 questions. And then it generates, like it picks random questions, so everyone gets different questions to do. But if I want them all to do the same question, that's when you click here, you find a question you like, new problem, and you click assign this problem. Then everyone gets the same question. Anyway, my class, I use this, I would say in a 55-minute class, they usually do about 10 DeltaMath questions, the warm-up questions, DeltaMath. And there's other types of questions you can make. You can make multiple choice questions. So here I'm making, if I want to make a multiple choice question, I come here, say multiple choice. Maybe the answers are choice 1, 2, 3, 4. What is 1 plus 1? Click here for the right answer choice. If I want to put an image in, maybe there's some sort of graph, you can upload images there. You can even make your own graph. They have a way to do that. And maybe you want to have, here, I'll make this one. You could even do a more involved type of question where they write like a paragraph, create your own problem, edit problem. Why do you think this process works? And I can come here and change it to paragraph. And now when I preview, it looks like this. And a kid types in, it works. It works because whatever they type, they can even put in some sort of math formatter, x squared. I haven't messed around with this. Insert into paragraph, that's pretty cool. And they submit it. And from my teacher portal, I can see all these answers at once. It records it. Students are accountable because we have all their work. teacher knows if the students are answering it, teacher knows if the students are getting it right, and the students know if they're getting it right. Aside from the $75, there is zero reason not to use DeltaMath and to get a DeltaMath Plus. Okay, I wanted to show you that because, again, it's something I do every day with my classes. I have children of my own, and I wish their teachers would use this as on a daily basis. I think one of the teachers uses it sometimes for homework assignments, but it's just great. It's just incredible. So again, not an employee. Disclosure, I do know the guy. He's a nice guy who developed this, but he's not giving me any money, I promise. I'm using this because it makes my job, I just makes my job better, and I'm more efficient, and it makes me happy to use it. Okay, so that's how to use DeltaMath.